What is up, you beautiful people? You are very welcome along to Monday night's Anfield Agenda, late night agenda. Loads to go through today. Another quick glance down just to make sure that the microphone isn't on mute. Even though I know I turned it on to audio before I started, I still look to double check. Look, we have loads to get through tonight. Again, we're going to see a lot of conflicting reports today about Liverpool's business or lack of business. We're going to even hear conflicting reports about FSG potentially still being interested in buying Bordeaux. Good news, myself and Jack Gill just finished recording episode number 3 of the Anfield Agenda podcast. That is going to be live tomorrow morning and we get stuck into it. We disagreed on quite a bit this week, but that's what these forums are all about. Do check that out tomorrow on whatever your favourite podcast app is. Just search Anfield Agenda on there and hopefully, all going well, it should show up. Right, let's get cracking on this one. First comment to bring up on screen from Peters27. And thank you, mate, for your 17 months of continued support of the channel. Said, John, for the love of God, man, where's the money? Where is the money? Look, me and Jack disagreed a little bit on that, actually, on the money and where is the money and should we be spending the money. But ultimately, I think you're going to enjoy yesterday or today's podcast episode, I should say. But I have a lot to get off my chest tonight. A lot that I want to talk about. And most of it is going to be the hypocrisies of reporting. Have a fun season, lads. You're going to be like United from the last 10 years. Maybe, Aaron. Look, United fans, other fans, welcome. Come in, banter us, have fun with us. I wouldn't be removing their comments over stuff like that, personally. It is part of football, isn't it? We are allowed to banter each other, and it wasn't toxic, so that's why I read it out, mate. Liz, lovely to see you in, Liz. Again, just want to thank you for renewing your membership with the channel. Liz listens all the way over in sunny Florida, and again, Liz, it's always lovely to have you in. Love you, crazy fuckers. See you all after Thursday's surgery. Well, Liz, we hope it goes well for you. I know you've been through the wars a lot over recent times, so we are all thinking of you, and our love and best wishes go, of course, to yourself, Ian, and the family. Right, so here's what I'm talking about with regards to conflicts or differences in reporting. You will have all seen the rumours about Kubo. You will have seen the rumours about FSG buying another club or not buying another club. Lots of stuff on centre-backs. And I am honestly getting a bit confused by it all. I don't know what is true, what isn't true. So that's what I hope tonight we can figure it out together. We'll show you the conflicting reports. We'll give you our take on it. But of course, I want to know your thoughts as well. So always feel free to let us know in the comment section if you agree or disagree with the topics under discussion. Rabadam, how are you, sir? 17 months with us as an Anfield Agenda Ultra member. Said, good evening, Craig. I wouldn't mind getting Inacio. Well, that seems as good a place as any to start off, Rabadam, my friend. So let's start off speaking about Gonçalo Inacio. So a report coming out of Portugal from CM Jornal, who are one of their leading publications over there, they say that Liverpool are expected to make a formal bid this week for Gonçalo Inacio. Sporting initially did want his full €60 million or just over £50 million release clause, but this said that they're now open to considering bids of around 38 million, which is much closer to the release clause that was in his previous Sporting Lisbon contract. Now, the problem I have here, buddy, is that this piece also said that Liverpool are expected to make an opening offer of about £25 million or about €30 million for Inacio. And look, I've got to say, I don't believe the Inacio stuff. Personally, I don't. I think Liverpool want Mark Guehi. I'm going to speak about that as well tonight. But on Inacio, look, if we signed him, you know what my biggest issue has always been around that deal. It's been the potential of Liverpool spending money we wouldn't have had to have spent to sign him last summer. So if they're open to a lower fee and Liverpool are open to signing him for that lower fee, I'm okay with that. It wouldn't bug me anywhere near as much as spending €60 million for somebody we could have had for €40 million. But if we're back in and around that number, then I'm absolutely fine with that. So for me, no issues whatsoever on that one. Let me know your thoughts, though. We did go through all the centre-back options the other night in the stream, and some people were very much in the Mark Guehi camp, others in the Inacio camp. Pacho was a name mentioned, of course, as well. For me, I still think it's going to be Mark Guehi, and I'm going to give you some positivity on that a little bit later on. So Fabrizio's been saying as an example, we're still interested. Oh no, that's on, excuse me, that's a different one I'm going to be speaking about. That's on Liverpool's options to sign Ederson from Atalanta, and we'll talk about that. So the Kubo thing, I feel like we have to address this one, right? Because a lot of you are coming in tonight wanting to know what's going on about Takefusa Kubo. And there has been a load of different reports on it. Some have said, from the likes of Fabrizio Romano, that yes, Liverpool are interested, but nowhere near far enough along for a potential offer to come in. I recorded a video this morning speaking about the £240,000 a week offer that looked like it was going to be coming across. But either way, it does seem like there is some credibility to Liverpool's links to Kubo. Sports Nippon suggests that the Japanese international has been classed as the chosen one, the one to come in and be the long-term successor to Mohamed Salah. Now, at 23 years of age, Kubo is right in that sweet spot for us, but has he really shown the end product yet? Has he shown enough goals and assists to justify Liverpool going in and making a €65 million bid, which would be the release clause? Real Madrid would be entitled to a good chunk of that, somewhere about 27, 28 million. Again, that's not really our concern if we're signing the player. But for me, the biggest indication perhaps came a little bit later on this evening, and we covered it in the podcast. Jack mentioned it to me. Wataru Endo was on a podcast, I think it was a Japanese sports podcast, and they were speaking about life in general, and somebody then asked, if you could transfer one Japanese international player to Liverpool, who would it be? And his answer, maybe Kubo. They're looking for a replacement for Mo Salah, so that's probably going to be a real area for Liverpool to strengthen in. So, I'm going to start off tonight with a poll. Would you be happy with Kubo? That's the easiest way I can ask this question. Lots of different views on this. The other night I was expecting everybody to be on board with this because lots of people have been asking me about Kubo. The other night though, it did feel as if the balance was a little bit 50-50, so that's why I want to put the poll up. It's in at around £55 million as well, so I'm going to put that fee in. One thing that I do disagree on though is the potential wage. There's no way I can see Liverpool giving Kubo £240,000 a week as soon as he signs and arrives. That would put him as the second highest earner at the football club behind Mohamed Salah. So yeah, I don't really believe that we're going to see that much money being spent. But would you take Kubo for £55 million is the question. And I'm going to put that into the chat now. And you guys can say yay or nay. Right, first super chat of the night is coming, and thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate your support. Let me get it up on screen for you here. Thank you, Aaron. I really do appreciate it, mate. First super chat of the night, as I mentioned. Let me get it back up here. So, nice little watch to have with this poxy Dublin weather. Give me Gordon, Guehi and Ederson, and I'll be happy. I'd be very happy with that window as well. Gordon, Guehi. Yes, that's almost close to the window that I would handpick myself, Aaron. So thank you for your super chat, mate, and your contribution. And I wouldn't say no to those players that you've mentioned. Craig, getting fed up with these clowns in charge, said Alex. I don't think you're the only one, bro. Look, lots of Liverpool fans are pretty annoyed at the minute with the way things are developing. The Kubo situation is one that I'm actually struggling to get a read on. You know, sometimes I look at it and I think, okay, I can see this as a type of Michael Edwards signing. Then other times I look at it and I'm a little bit confused by it. I don't know, because I don't know if the numbers are there to back up €65 million or about £55 million. A year of being an AA Ultra. Much love to yourself, Connor, Ben, and the AA community. Thank you, Nomad. Really do appreciate your support on that one, mate. I can't believe that you guys have been with us for that long as well. So many amazing people support our channel, and I appreciate that. Liz has also gifted a membership. Thank you, Liz. That has gone to Dreg Dillon. So thank you, Liz, for that one. Yeah, so on Kubo, I'm not sure about it, lads. I would much prefer Anthony Gordon. I would have much preferred Nico Williams. And I truly just don't know if it's true or not. That's the part that I'm struggling with the most. Loads of different reports on it today. Some more firm than others. Some saying that they're not sure about it. As I said, Fabrizio Romano said that Liverpool may have looked at him, but he's not sure how strong that interest is. Craig, do you remember when we were heavily linked with Somerville and Pacho? Oh, I surely do. And on Somerville, actually, I mentioned this during the evening video, but West Ham have apparently submitted a bid to Leeds United to sign Crescencio Somerville. Fabrizio Romano did say that they sent an initial proposal across to Leeds and are engaging in talks over the player. A deal still not to be close, but one that they're looking at. So look, I don't want Somerville. I really don't. I've never been convinced that Crescencio Somerville would be somebody that would get us up off the edge of our seats. It always felt like a potential cheap option. So let me know what you think on that one. I'm kind of happy to let West Ham go and get him, to be honest. Maybe that will, increase the possibility of Mohamed Kudus moving on down the line. So I'm getting very confused on what's going on around the Bordeaux situation with FSG. Lots of reports that they're back in. Lots of reports to say that they want to buy the club, that they've received some assurances from the council. Let me have a look at this. So a journalist over in France said, statement from the Bordeaux council said that the club, Bordeaux, have informed them of FSG's demands regarding the stadium and that they are prepared to write off debt and revise the rent that the team pays to use it. A statement says, FSG appears to be the only conceivable option to prevent catastrophic financial and social consequences of relegation with Bordeaux. It's now up to the owner and the potential buyers to finalise talks as quickly as possible. I don't know where we are though with it, because other reports have said that Liverpool are standing firm on that they're not interested, or Liverpool's owners, I should say, are standing firm and are not interested. Look, to me, I don't really give a shite, to be honest with you. It's not really too relatable to Liverpool. If John W. Henry and Tom Werner and the lads want to go buy another football club, have at it. But I'm only concerned about what's happening with us, and that seems to be a whole lot of nothing. And that whole lot of nothing is getting worse. A report today came out to say that, where is it? Where's this one? No major incomings or outgoings are mooted over the next fortnight. There's likely to be a familiar look to the squad when they finally get back together in the week up to the final friendly against Sevilla at Anfield on August the 11th. Does that not worry everybody else? That the 2 weeks that the team are away, no problem with Arne Slot being distracted, no problem with Slot looking at his boys while on the pre-season tour, but we can't just again say, oh well sure, we'll throw the transfer business out the window and write another 2 weeks off, and then when everybody's back on the 11th of August we'll have a little look. That's getting dangerously close to the window coming to an end, and everybody then going, but, and I will have said to you, and I will say it again, I warned you, I'm going to continue to warn you, they'll get away with whatever they can get away with. So we need to start being very, 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 very vocal and calling them out to get it done. They need to start getting this transfer business done. Harry, thank you for your super chat, said, controversial, but I prefer Hincapié over Guehi. Look, personal preference, mate. No problem with that. As you said, you think it's controversial. I don't think it's controversial. I would respectfully disagree with you. I think the homegrown aspect as well with Mark Guehi would be important for me. And you're talking probably similar price tags as well. I'm going to move on to speak a little bit more about Mark Guehi in a while, because there's been some encouraging news on that front. But I do have another super chat to read out, and thank you to Tobias for this one. Said, I'd absolutely take Kubo at Liverpool, but signing him for the same money that Williams wants seems a bit weird, as Nico's stock is a lot higher. Now what I can gather is that everybody else is wasting their time on Nico Williams. It feels like he wants to stay in Spain. So I think if he can get a move to Barca, that might happen. But a lot of people are saying that it's Barca or nothing. Barca or he stays at Athletic Club Bilbao. I can only report what's been said, and there's been nothing really new regarding Liverpool's interest there. There is a potentially breaking story that I'm going to speak about in the morning video. I'm just waiting for a second confirmation on it. And it's of Arsenal maybe coming in to gazump us on another deal. I haven't got enough info on it yet, but I'm going to report it in tomorrow morning's video once I get that second confirmation on it. A few other things to note today. Mark Guehi, where are we with him? Well, there was an encouraging post to say that Liverpool are, where is it? Where's this one? Where is it? Yes. No, sorry, that's not it. Liverpool are prepared and willing to pay the £65 million to sign Mark Guehi from Crystal Palace. They're confident about their chances. They're confident that the player would like to move. And they're confident that wages wouldn't be a stumbling block. Lots of confidence there. But again, no offer. Why no offer for anyone? I can understand us not getting all of our business done. Of course I can. But to get absolutely zero business done, nothing, is quite frankly embarrassing at this point in my opinion. I know people are going to hide behind the fact that Arne Slot's only through the door, but I'm going to keep saying the same thing. We were told that Arne Slot's not going to be making the decisions on transfers. So fair enough, he can assess his squad, that's his right as a coach, but we should be just adding to that anyway to give him some nice selection headaches. So this excuse of time and Liverpool assessing, I think is just that. It's an excuse that buys them time as the transfer window continues to go on. Ace and Tino, mate, thank you for your super chat. Really kind as always. Said, don't understand this fascination with Gordon. He's not great for 60 to 80 million. Don't we have Gakpo? I just don't get it. Keep up the work, Craig. So I'm going to respond to that one. Initially, I have to say I was a little bit cold on it. But I do believe one thing about Anthony Gordon. If Liverpool signed him, he would run through a brick wall for the jersey, for the club. He's a local boy. It would mean a lot to him. And I don't think he'd be looking to operate on the left-hand side. I would imagine we'd probably try to utilise him on the right-hand side. But you are right, we do have lots of good options there. Speaking about the likes of Lucho, obviously Cody Gakpo had a very good Euros as well. So I get where you're coming from, but all I can tell you is, every time I speak to somebody, I keep getting reminded about how much the club do admire Gordon, how much the club do rate Gordon. Eddie Howe, though, he's been speaking about Anthony Gordon and trying to reassure Newcastle fans. This is what Eddie Howe has had to say. I'm confident that everything's okay with Anthony Gordon. I think you can only judge Anthony on what he's given Newcastle on the pitch. He's given us everything. He's been committed. We've had no conversations over the summer where it has been fractious or negative. He's always been the Anthony Gordon who was given absolutely everything to Newcastle, and I want to make that clear to our supporters. I can understand that, but it still doesn't change the fact that they tried to sell him. It still didn't change the fact that when there was any sign of them having financial issues, Anthony Gordon was one of the very first people that they were willing to sacrifice, and that is not going to fill him or his agent full of much confidence, is it? So I get Eddie Howe has to say what Eddie Howe has to say. I just don't believe it, really. If there were better finishers at Sociedad, Kubo's assists would be off the charts. Pool forwards would love him out wide. Possible next level stuff. If only that was the real Robbie Fowler. But we'll take our own Robbie Fowler. And thank you, mate, for your super chat. That could be the genius behind this, mate. That's why I'm so intrigued on the Kubo link. Because you're right. Remember when we signed Mo? I think you'll remember that time when it wasn't Jurgen's first choice. Michael Edwards and the recruitment team were pushing really, really hard just for Mo to be considered. Jurgen wanted Julian Brandt, but Michael Edwards and the scouts and the data boys said that the numbers, everything shows that Mohamed Salah could explode onto the scene. So I give you credit for your post. I really appreciate it. I just don't know enough personally about Kubo to see yay or nay, to say if he could be that next level talent. But if we're interested in him, I very much believe that those who've done the research feel like there's an unpolished diamond there, a diamond in the rough there, somebody who can absolutely be brought on leaps and bounds with a better quality of forward line there for him to supply as well. So thank you, mate, for that super chat. You're very kind. I have another super chat to go through as well. Wow, you guys as always absolutely showing up tonight. Slot is a sacrificial lamb, it would seem, said Get Good Entertainment. I hope he isn't, but I can understand that fear because I have it myself. I actually asked Jack a similar question on the podcast today. If he's not backed, it's clear he's a sacrificial lamb to me, unless he outperforms, and in which case FSG win then anyway. So I get where you're coming from, mate. It does feel like everything has been spoken about from a Slot context. Slot wants to assess his squad. Slot is in no rush. Slot. But that doesn't really equate to what we've been told about who's doing our transfer business. So I hope he isn't a sacrificial lamb, because I really like Arne Slot and I really believe in him. So I want him to succeed. So we've had nearly 1,000 votes on the poll, and it's quite close, but we'll leave it running for a bit longer. The question again, remember, is would you take Kubo for £55 million, around €65 million, which is his release clause? So far, 55% of you guys are saying yes, with 45% saying no. Turpin Ninja said Klopp didn't fully get back the way we would have all liked, so Slot will never get the backing. I mean, you're preaching to the choir, my friend. I'm just sick of it. Quite frankly, I am. Even with Jack, we had a disagreement about transfer business. We were speaking about, remember that set of numbers I told you guys about the other day? The numbers involved in what clubs have spent since Eric Ten Hag became United manager. And Liverpool were trailing way behind all of these clubs. We were like, what was it? Almost 800 million behind Chelsea. We were 200 and something million behind United. We were 150 million behind Arsenal and Spurs. And it paints a picture to me of owners who just either don't understand the football's moved on with regards to some of these fees, or just don't give a shit. And I think it's that they just don't care. Now, I'm open to other people trying to correct me on that, but every year our net spend is like clockwork about 40 million. There's only been 2 seasons where that's changed. Last season we got up to about 90 in a rebuild, and even at that, with a 90 million net spend, we were still outspent by 6 other Premier League clubs. So yeah, I'm pissed off by it all, and it's getting more and more so every day. I know Salah isn't at his peak, said Harry Klein, and is slowly declining, but last season he was so creative. Can he improve at that part of his game? I feel we can use him a lot longer in that creative role and more involved. I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult to come to an agreement with Mo on any type of extension, because he won't want to take a backward step with regards to his wages, and I can't see a world that Michael Edwards feels like he deserves a rise. I can agree with you, Harry, that there's every opportunity that Mo will have a good season, that Mo will still put up good numbers, but his best days are behind him, and at least if we bring in a Kubo or somebody else, we're clearly looking to the future. And I like the idea of a year of Mohamed Salah and the potential replacement together, learning, pushing each other, and giving us less time for a new signing to have to get to know the league. If we signed the Salah replacement next summer, then I'd be worried that if that player doesn't hit the ground running, it might impact the start of that season. But if you bring them in now, that gives us a bit more time. So that's all I hope for. I just want the 3 positions strengthened in this window. I'm not saying we have to spend 300 million quid, but we do have to fix the 3 glaring holes in the squad. Christian Pivoral, always lovely to see you, sir, said, I think Kubo might be a Salah type gem. Liverpool fan in Japan channel has a great analysis video about Kubo. On that, Christian, I'm recording with him on Thursday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was going to keep it as a bit of a surprise, but I'm going onto his channel on Thursday. We're recording a video together, and we're going to be speaking about, obviously, Liverpool, Endo. We're going to be speaking about Kubo, of course, as well. Minamino will probably revisit. So thank you on that one, mate. You've teed that one up nicely for me, Christian. Now, a super chat here from Ben that I want to bring up as well. So Ben said, Gooner from Belfast, big up Craig, top content. Much appreciated, Ben. And I was up in Belfast, as you probably know, last month. Great time, great show, really enjoyed it. Belfast crowd was what I'd hoped it would be. Lively, fun, up for a laugh. And I'm hoping the same in Cardiff and Liverpool as well. So don't forget, my friends, it is only now 10 days, 11 days away from our show in Cardiff at the beautiful Richard Burton Theatre. Tickets are just £15, and you can get a family ticket for 4 people for 50 quid. They're all ages events, and we're going to be in Liverpool 2 days later at the Hot Water Comedy Club as well. So we hope you can come along and see us at either of those shows. But thank you for that, mate. Appreciate it. And I think you're probably in for a good season. I say that with a heavy heart, though, but I do think Arsenal are looking like they're going to do good business again. Right, next super chat from Mark Fitchin. Arsenal, player plus money for Guehi. That was the thing I kind of didn't want to speak about till I got a second confirmation on it. And I will go into it in more detail on tomorrow morning's transfer video. But yeah, there is talk of exactly what you've said there, Mark, and it worries me. So Arsenal look like Calafiori. And if they don't get Calafiori, maybe they're moving on to Mark Guehi. Or maybe they're using the Mark Guehi thing to push along the Calafiori thing. But either way, we're talking about the best defence in the league looking to add more strength and depth to the best defence in the league. And that is worrying. So look, I'll go through that in more detail in tomorrow morning's video. I'm just waiting for a couple of bits and pieces back from a couple, I wouldn't call them sources, but a couple of people far more in the know on that situation than I would be. Owen, how are you, sir? Said, I'm so disappointed at us missing out on Calafiori. I think that back four Arteta has will be a big problem. Yes, it will. And remember, they were without one of their big signings for a lot of last season in Yuri and Timber as well. So he's going to be back in and fit and ready to go this summer for Arsenal. It is a daunting defence they're building there. And what worries me is that we seem to be pinning our hopes on youth. And that's okay, but you can't expect miracles from the likes of Akwanza or Sepp Vandenberg, who, by the way, I still haven't seen held to account for his comments. I think he should be benched till he apologises publicly to the club. Fabio Carvalho, somebody who actually asked me in the podcast question, do I think Carvalho should be held to the same account as Sepp Vandenberg because of his comments previously? I think I touched on it yesterday. I view it a little bit differently because he was more talking about Jurgen Klopp, and I think that was a more veiled criticism than the blunt criticism from Sepp Vandenberg. But Football Insider say that Fabio Carvalho will at least get the US tour to have a look or be looked upon by Arne Slot to decide what his future is going to be. Look, I think most of us will agree there is a player in there, but where are we going to play him? Can we get him enough minutes? Will he take the place of the likes of Harvey Elliott, whom I hope not? Curtis Jones? Well, I think Curtis Jones shouldn't have an automatic starting place at this point. So competition in that area looks like it could be good, and it's over to Fabio Carvalho now. You know, he's got an opportunity to impress. So let's see what he can do on that pre-season tour. Matt O'Reilly. I want to talk about him for a second. Celtic have rejected another bid from Atalanta for Matt O'Reilly. The reason why this connects to Liverpool is he's being looked at by them as a possible replacement for outgoing midfielder or midfielders. We know that Coop Miners is of interest to Liverpool and Juventus, but the real secret here for me is I think they're bringing this kid in to try to replace Ederson. And I'm hopeful that if they sign Matt O'Reilly, or if Juventus sign him, then maybe Juventus will... I don't think Juventus are going to sign him, actually. I think Juventus want Coop Miners, but they're kind of flirting with him as a way to get at Atalanta. So if Atalanta get that deal done, it'll be interesting to see if we then go in with a bid for Ederson, because I'm still fully behind him being the right choice for the right price. I do have a little bit of an exclusive on that one. Lots of people saying that they are unaware of a price tag that they would look for. From my understanding, about 40 to 45 million pound would be the transfer fee that Atalanta would want for him, which I think is reasonable in all honesty. 25 years of age, perfect experience, enough games at the highest level, won the Europa League. I think he's the ideal signing for a very reasonable fee. What's this Connor just sent me? Okay, this is positive. So David Lynch has put out via the Anfield Buzz, because I want to credit everybody involved, to say the reason things are taking a little bit longer with Trent's contract is due to the length of the contract that's been offered and the obvious interest by Real Madrid. Now, I don't know if that makes things better or worse, but either way, it's still not a definitive show of faith for Trent, is it? Because if the length of contract is worrying him, or the interest from Real Madrid is worrying him, it's still a problem for us. So, you know, it is a little bit of an update. Always appreciate when David Lynch or any of the journalists give us that bits of information. And again, credit to the Anfield Buzz there, who were the ones that were interacting with David Lynch for that bit of info. No signings. How can this be? FSG out at SEK. Let me just get that up on screen for you, bro, as well. I hate when I... oh, it wasn't SEK, it was Matthew. Sorry, I was using your currency there, bro. Sorry. Let me explain it to you. So the no signings thing is what's being spoken about over the next 2 weeks. We've been told by... do we even need to say what outlet at this point? You know, the one that I always go in on. The one that I always think... that, in fact, I don't believe the journalists even talk to each other, because they put so many contradicting stories out that we're being told not to expect any incomings or outgoings over the next 2 weeks. And Arne Slot may well start to do stuff with 1 week to go till the Premier League starts. I mean, I don't know what to say, lads. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how this publication still has a reader or two. It's a joke. It's a joke. You know what I'm talking about. I don't need to say any names. TAA66, thank you, sir, for your super chat. Said, Craig, I really hope there won't be any cheating this season with thrash referees. I was watching your reaction to the 2-1 Spurs game last season. I really hope it gets better. It won't get better. We will get the usual stuff. The mealy-mouthed promises from... the Referees Association, from Howard Webb, about how things will be a little bit better this season. But what we will get is automated offside, or semi-automated offside technology, which I really am looking forward to. But the rest of it, me and Jack touched on this on the pod again, still looking back and knowing that we didn't get a penalty for the Odegaard handball in a top-of-the-table clash, that we didn't get a penalty for the Doku assault on Alexis McAllister. It still astounds me to this day how that is allowed to happen and people aren't really held to account for it. They were 2 games that could have dictated how our league title push went. Both of them had huge calls that went against us. Then think back a little bit further to earlier in the season where Spurs were racing away in the league. Really good start to the season. Gary Neville was tipping them to finish above Liverpool and Arsenal. And we go to Spurs, and what happened there? We got shafted. We got shafted over and over again. Perfectly good goals ruled out. Stupid red cards. And every time we play a top-of-the-table team, it seems like obvious decisions, really clear-cut decisions, are being given against us. And nobody's calling it out in the media. And every Monday we all have to listen to Dermot Gallagher or Mike Riley or any former referees spout their usual nonsense to defend the ineptitude that we've just seen with our own 2 eyes, and we're all told we don't understand the rules and the thresholds and clear and obvious and all these other buzzwords that are used as nothing but an excuse for ineptitude and just poor officiating. Still don't know what the handball rule is. I've been watching football and playing football since I was 7 years of age, and I don't know what the handball rule is anymore, and I'm 42 at this moment in time, and I sit here saying to you, I don't fully understand the handball rule. One of the most basic things in football, and I still don't know what to expect. So again, I ask, how can Ederson's assault, how can Doku's assault on Alexis McAllister not be a penalty? Not be enough to send the ref to the monitor? But Harry Kane in the Euros, tiny little kick on the follow through, ref over, penalty given. Come on now. It stinks. It's not good enough. And we will be shafted, mate. And the biggest problem I have with it is that the mainstream, the London-centric bias, will come out and defend these absolute fucking clowns at the PGMOL. It is shocking. By the way, you should be all very proud of me. I've done 3 podcast episodes now. 3. And I haven't sworn once. I'm proud of me. I don't think I could go 3 hours in a day without swearing. So 3 episodes of a podcast is pretty good. Right, Christian, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Always lovely to see you in. And I always have beard envy when I see you, bro, because I wish I could grow a beard. I requested a collab between you guys on his channel, but I can't wait seeing you guys chatting it up. Yeah, we're going to be on his channel for that chat, Christian. He reached out to us via email. Looking forward to doing it. He looks like a really nice guy. And appreciate it. Appreciate your support as well, Christian. And thank you for the suggestion. Right, let me get into more news because there's so much here to go through. Ederson. Liverpool remain interested in Atalanta midfielder Ederson. That's according to Fabrizio, who said the 25-year-old who's played 53 games across all competitions last year for Atalanta, and they won the Europa League, and as a result of his fine performances, Liverpool are still looking at him. But looking isn't going to sign him. We need to make sure that we follow that up. Now, if, as I said, Matt O'Reilly goes to Serie A or to Atalanta, hopefully we follow that up with an offer. Ederson would be some signing, said Ryan. Look, I've been really... to give me a little bit of credit, there's two names that I have refused to believe that we aren't in for and refused to acknowledge that we won't put a bid in for. Those two names have been Mark Guehi of Crystal Palace and Ederson of Atalanta. Despite many publications saying that Liverpool have no need for a centre-back, no interest in a centre-back, I've always said I believe firmly that we have interest in both of those guys. Now, that's not worth a shit to any of us unless we sign them, but I'm sticking by that. I really feel like Ederson and Mark Guehi are the two jigsaw pieces for midfield and defence. The Kubo one, genuinely, that's taken me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that, but it is a very Michael Edwards type of player to look at. Would I take Zubamendi over Ederson? No. He's a good player, but I would prefer Ederson. But look, a lot of the time is it's just a personal preference, you know. I'm not saying that my decision's the right one, your decision's the wrong one. He's just really somebody who I like, and every time I watch him, he just fills me full of more confidence that he'd be a good fit. So, Fabrizio gave an update on a deal that a lot of you guys have asked about, which is young Rio Namoha. So he has said that his registration is currently going through the Premier League 5-step investigation process, which could take up to 4 weeks, then it will be official. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. It's a little bit, again, contradictory reporting on this one, because we were told to expect some news last week about this, but, you know, if it has to go through the process, it has to go through the process, as long as we come out on the other side of it with the player. That's the most important thing. Did you guys see that Chelsea are reportedly looking to force Trevor Chalobah out and haven't even included him on the pre-season tour? Another homegrown talent who has ability. What are they doing? Like, what is the plan at Chelsea? They're selling off and buying in young players, but then they're ignoring and, like, freezing out the likes of Chalobah. I find it all very strange. And yet they can still just keep spending money. And nobody's batting an eyelid at it. Wesley said, Craig, I saw you yesterday. You were trying to use the back of your house key in a shopping trolley. Hope it all worked out. You definitely didn't see me yesterday, and I don't need keys or anything, mate. I'm that famous now around where I live. I just walk up to the shopping trolley and somebody runs over, gets it and wheels it over to me, because that's how I fucking roll. So again, if you want to have banter, mate, let's make it fun, you know, a bit more. You could have made me a little bit more downtrodden than that as an example. But yeah, I don't have to put money. I don't use money. I use clout to pay for things, mate. I go into Tesco and just go, I'll tweet this. I'll share this. I'm in your kip of a store. Love me. Right, TAA66. Appreciate your super chat, bro. Said, I'd love to see you as a pundit speaking, or no speaking shit like the others do. I'd like to see you on the happy hour. Be very cool. Yeah, I don't know why, but never got that invite onto the Happy Hour podcast. Shame. I'd love to do it. I've said this before. One of my favourite podcasts, but no love from Jack, mate, on that one, unfortunately, and Stevie and Robbie. I've had the pleasure of interviewing Jack, actually, on a video on ours, and really nice guy. Stevie's lovely as well. But if that phone call ever came, I would answer the call, of course. It's It's the one I've always said I'd like to explain my life story on properly. And I've been holding it back for that very reason. But look, if it doesn't happen, I guess I can do it in my own podcast, who did chart at number 44 on the UK Sport charts yesterday. So thank you to everybody on that one. Todd Bowley ruining Chelsea. It's mad. He's just going around like spending money. Since Ten Hag has come in, and I've said this, the dude spent over £1.1 billion. £1.1 billion Bowley has spent just since Ten Hag has come into United. And that's not including some of the business he's doing this summer. Honestly, I can't understand it. I don't understand how it's possible. Nor do I understand how you can sell yourselves hotels either. That one's a weird one. Craig, if we sign Guehi, will we start him over Ibu? Depends on a couple of things. How quickly he gets to grips with the system. How much he'd impress the manager. But certainly I would say yes. If you're bringing him in, you're bringing him in probably to be Virgil's long-term successor. So whether you play him alongside Kwanzaa, alongside Ibu, even alongside Virg maybe. But either way, it would be the indication to me that when Virgil's time with the club is up, that's our defensive leader. I'm a little bit worried about Ibu. I love him. I still think his announcement video is the best announcement video that anyone's ever done at the club since they've come in. He seems like a really humble, lovely fella as well. But we can't ignore the injuries he's picking up, and some of the decision making needs to be worked on. I think Ibu gets too tight to players at times. It's no secret that he's given away a lot of free kicks, and if he can cut out those type of messy little things, obviously there's a really good player in there. But I would expect Guehi to come in to be the leader of that defence eventually. No chance Canade is our best defender on his day. No, he's not. Virgil's your best defender on his day. That's not up for debate. I can't even believe I'm reading that, to be honest with you, mate. When have we seen this? Give me 10 good games in a row you've seen from Canate. Honestly, it hasn't happened. And I take no pleasure saying that, because I want Ibu to succeed. I said when we signed him and Bayern signed up on Maguire that we got the better deal from Leipzig, we got the better centre-back. But his injuries are starting to really worry me. So in the UK now, in Great Britain, just got it sent to me. The Anfield Agenda podcast and sports is up to number 18 in the UK podcast charts. 18th already. It's not thanks to me, that's thanks to you guys. So to everyone that is downloading, listening to the podcast, thank you so much. New episode out tomorrow morning as well. A good 50-minute conversation between myself and Jack, and then I'm going to record my own podcast. So every week there'll be one with me and Jack and one with just me. My one's going to be out on Thursday. So again, thank you so much for your support on that. Makes me feel so happy. I love podcasting. It's where I started. It feels like I'm home when I'm doing a podcast. It's great. So, and I think you'll love this week's episode. I even said to Jack when we were finished, I think it was really good. I think the chemistry is starting to build between the two of us. It was a good process this week. So I hope you enjoy it. And any feedback, of course, is always welcome. What was Sepp's comment? I still can't believe that some people don't know about this. Let me go back, mate. I have the quote here somewhere. I just have to go back through my notes to get exactly what Vandenberg said. Where is it? Is that one? No. Sorry, mate. I have to scroll back quite a bit to find this. I'm not finding it to hand at the minute. So he said something along the lines of, you never cared about my development or my... No, I want to get it right. Sorry, I don't want to put words in somebody else's mouth. So let me see if I can find the quote for you. La 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 la. Yeah, there you go. You've not radiated confidence in me all this time, but you want to hinder my future. I want to continue playing every week and further develop myself. Then went on to kind of go on about the offers that have been rejected from the likes of Mainz and PSV Eindhoven, and basically said Liverpool were asking too much money for him in €20 million. And that was him publicly, not an agent or anything else. That was his comments, his words, and he should be held to account for that, because we wouldn't accept it from any other player. We wouldn't accept those comments like Kloppo froze people out for a lot less, or for similar things. And I don't understand how this has been swept under the carpet. He's a young man, and a passionate young man, and I've no problem with him making a mistake. But he hasn't apologised for it. Not publicly, and he should. He shouldn't even be considered for the first team squad until he backtracks and apologises in those comments, in my opinion. Because what type of precedent is that setting under Arne Slot? That we're going to accept that type of lippy attitude? You know, before anything else, he got to apologise. He has to. Never heard that quote before, to be fair. Just search it yourself, mate, you know. It's out there. It's I covered it on the channel at the time when it happened. We reported it that day, and it's a little bit snidey for me. Is Sepp any good objectively? Yes, absolutely. I'm not telling you Sepp Vandenberg isn't good enough to play for Liverpool. That definitely is a decision that Arne Slot has to make. What I'm saying is, I don't know why he gets a free pass with that type of comment. But regarding him being potentially good enough, I have no problem with that. We still need to bring in another centre-back, but I've said to you, we need 5. So for me, if you've got Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, Kanade, Joe Gomez and Sepp Vandenberg, Gomez become your utility one and you bring in somebody else, you've got enough strength and depth there. But I'd need the apology if I was the club. Did I cancel my Sky TV after it? Yes, I did. I cancelled it in mid-May, if my memory's right. I just refuse to pay for it at this point with Sky. I refuse to be spoken to like I'm a child, and their fake bullshit morals ram down my throat while I'm seeing the hypocrisy of some of their own reporting. Like I don't need to be educated by Sky on my morals, and that was the deciding factor for me. Like, I'm just sick of listening to them. So this just in said FSG will not buy Bordeaux. The lawyers of Liverpool's owners decided this evening that it would be best not to go ahead with the move, leaving the French side in an economic catastrophe. It's always sad, genuinely, to hear of any football club going through those type of problems. So I hope they can figure something out. They've already been relegated from the top division in France down to the second division, and now with the financial implications, they're going to be relegated again to the third tier. And that is, if you look at their stadium and their history as a football club, I wouldn't wish that on any set of fans. Genuinely, it is a very sad situation. Dylan said, no transfers for 3 weeks to be expected. Is that right? It's what's been reported, mate. I'll read it out to you again, just so you know exactly where I'm coming from on it. So, it was written in a certain publication. Let's just say the publication that loves to ignore us more than any other publication. Said, no major incomings or outgoings are muted over the next fortnight. There's likely to be a familiar look to the squad when they finally get back together for the week leading up to the friendly against Sevilla at Anfield on August the 11th. 11th. 1 week from the Premier League starting. And we're writing it off already. But look, here's the thing that I don't get. We were told about Slot not having a say in transfers. Of course he gets to decide whether a player plays or not. That's his job as a coach. He coaches the player, he picks the team, nobody's going to interfere in that. But we were told many, many times that it was going to be down to Richard Hughes, to Will Spearman, Dave Fallows, Barry Hunter, Michael Edwards, the rest of Liverpool's recruitment team to do that part of things. And that over the course of time, Slot's influence may grow once he proves himself. Now all of a sudden we're being told that nobody can sign anybody until Slots looked at everybody, which to me just sounds like a whole lot of excuses and buying of time for FSG to spend no money in the window. Because what's going to happen, in my opinion, is we'll get to the latter part of the window, we will make a signing, and then we'll be told that there was no value to be had for other signings, and then we'll get the signing of Trent pitched as a big success story that Trent's re-signed on. So we'll get a signing in Trent, and then a promise of further development down the line with more money. The usual, rinse and repeat every summer is what I think. But yeah, people still want to give the owners benefit of the doubt. Not me. Spend the money, you cheap fucks. Spend it. Jackson Hammond said, can you honestly see a world where we don't sign anyone this window? No, I can't. Even in my most worried and anti-FSG stance on transfers, even I can't see a world where we don't at least make a signing in this window. But what that signing is, will it be the centre-back? I hope so. I mean, let me just... Okay, I'm going to end this poll and I'm going to ask you a question. 1 second. So we asked, would you take Kubo for £55 million or about €65 million? We're almost at 2,000 votes on this, so I'm going to let it get up to 2,000 votes. We need about another 10 more, so if you haven't voted, please do. And then I'm going to announce the result of that poll. Most of you, by the way, saying yes, but I just wanted to get to 2,000 because I like round numbers. There we go. Right, 56% of the Anfield Agenda viewers have said that yes, they would take Kubo for that money. Now the question I'm going to ask you is, which is the most important position for Liverpool to sign this summer? So let me just get that up. Okay, cool. So, the options I'm going to give you are forward, because I don't know if it would be a centre forward or a wide player. Central midfield, because again, I don't know what type of midfielder. Centre back. And one more option, let's say fullback. Okay, polls up. Vote away. Which position, in your humble opinion, do you think is the most important to strengthen? A forward, a central mid, a centre back, or a fullback? Sarang said, where does all the money go during transfer windows for Liverpool? I don't know. I'm convinced John just turns his phone on Do Not Disturb for June, July and August. On Wharton, I see a couple of people in the chat speaking about Wharton. I've seen that Manchester City have a lot of interest in him, but apparently they want another year for him to develop at Crystal Palace before they make a move. So, you know, take from that what you want. The situation with De Bruyne I find interesting as well. Some conflicting reports about whether he will or won't be going to Saudi. But one thing that we know for sure about De Bruyne is he's very much opened the door to the possibility of it by talking about the astounding amounts of money that he could get. I looked back at these comments last night because I was interested, and basically he said, I've been playing football for 15 years and I could make as much money or more money in 2 years over there as I could in the rest of my career combined. And as a family man, I've got to think about that. And you know what? I respect that. At least he's not going with the whole Jordan Henderson nonsense of growing the game. Just say I'm getting paid. The end of your career, it's his choice. If he wants to go over there and get an ungodly amount of money, No problem. At least he's been honest about it. And there was a couple of more players that were honest as well. I think was a Koulibaly or somebody else who said, money. I'm here for the money. Give me that. I appreciate that honestly from a player than some of the other mental gymnastics we've seen used to try and justify the moves across. Tifa, thank you mate for your super chat, said a really good signing would be new ownership. I don't think that's going to happen. With all the best intentions in the world, I don't think we're going to get rid of them until they feel like there's no more value to be added to the club. So if tomorrow morning they all woke up and realised that football clubs aren't going to increase in value over the next 3 to 5 years, that they've probably hit their peak valuation, then I think they would sell. Just projections for growth in football show that there's at least a 6.5% growth over the next 12 months or so, and probably more untapped media markets, social media markets, and other revenue sources that they don't want to leave on the table. You're going to see more and more Americanization of football in the way that they've been able to extract more money. You know, the hospitality levels, you're going to hear phrases that we haven't really used and seen before in European sport because of the influx of American owners. And, ask any of our American friends in the chat, it's getting really expensive in the States to go watch live sport. Some people have shown me some very, very disturbing numbers with regards to the price of going to an NFL game and stuff like that. And I don't want that coming into football. I want us to be able to at least afford to be able to go to games. But yeah, that's it. They won't sell till they feel like they've gotten every penny they possibly can in value added to the club. Jason Hammond, thank you for joining Anfield Agenda FC, mate. Appreciate that. And who's this one? N. Just N. Thank you for your super chat with no comment, mate, but I appreciate you. Nicholas said, live sports are out of control in the US. You have to buy a PSL before you can buy tickets in the NFL. And I explored this possibility. So if you don't know what a PSL is, let me explain it to you. So, to use an example, the Raiders built that new stadium in Las Vegas. An incredible stadium. But if you wanted to be a season ticket holder and have your seat, you have to buy a PSL, which is a personal seat license. So you have to pay an astounding amount of money just for the right to be able to go and get those two seats or that seat every time you go. That's not your season ticket price. That's just you having the privilege of being able to secure that seat, and then you go pay your season ticket prices on top of it. It's absolute insanity, and I don't know how anyone's paid it. I don't know how American sports public have let that happen to their sports, but I can't see it catching on over here. Like, imagine trying to tell people on the Cop or Stretford End at United or whatever, yeah, season ticket prices are going up a little bit, and also you've now got to buy a license for your seat. So if you want to have your seat, you've got to have a personal seat license that gives you the ownership of that particular numbered seat. And you still have to buy your season ticket. It just sounds so alien as a concept to me. But, we all grow up in different sporting cultures. James Bond loves me. That's at least what he said in the chat. So thank you there, Bond. James Bond. Appreciate you. So do drop a like if you haven't. We're nearly up to 500 likes on the stream. Really would appreciate your support. The good news is we've got 30 minutes left to go on tonight's stream. So any questions that you want to fire in, please do. I've still got some news to go back through. Peter O'Rourke has said Liverpool and Aston Villa are both keen on a summer deal for Juventus centre-back Dean Huijsen. You probably remember me speaking about this kid over the last couple of days. He was on loan at Roma last season. £25 million is seemingly the number. And in fairness, what I've seen written about this kid and Liverpool is that it would be like Liverpool's view would kind of be not for him to play right now. Liverpool will be taking a longer view. So maybe even a loan if you were to bring him in for a year or so. But it's the type of profile centre-back I can understand us looking at. Same way with Lenny Yoro. When we were speaking about his situation, maybe you're not thinking of playing him this second. United will have to, but maybe with a view to the future for a decent fee, not too bad. Here's a bit of a weird one. Ant, before I go on to this one, Ant, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, bro. Appreciate your support of the channel. And Pranav as well, mate. 38 months. 38 months with us as a member. Craig, you're doing so well. When does the Champions League computer draw take place? I think all the qualification rounds still have to happen. So I would expect it usually in August, if my memory's right. But yeah, we do have to make sure all the qualification and stuff is done first. 38 months, dude. That's incredible. Thank you. 38 months with us. Jayden Dans. I want to speak about him for a minute because I'd seen a link to a move away for him. Now, it's only a loan move, so don't get worked up on that. But it's the Plymouth Argyle to work under Wayne Rooney. And when myself and Jack spoke about this on the pod, again, we kind of had different views on it. I think a loan move is the right move for Jayden Dans this season. My thinking being that I don't know if he's going to get enough football at Liverpool with regards to Premier League 2 or League Cups or some underage games. And he's confident at the minute. He's scoring goals. He's looking $1 million. And I think a loan to a championship club, working under somebody in Rooney who, let's be honest, knew where the back of the net was. I think it could be a decent move for him. But we also have to keep into account we still don't know what's happening with Darwin. And I'm not talking about whether we sell him or not. I mean, any impending ban that may be issued after the antics at the Copa America, we don't know yet. So we've got to wait and see. But on Dans, I think personally a loan move is the right way to go this season for Jayden Dans. Because I want him to continue to develop, play football every single week, get into that rhythm and keep building that confidence and scoring goals. I think it's a smart move, said Nomad. He'll be learning from one of the best strikers of his generation. Joan, thank you so much. Joan said August 29th for the Champions League draw. Top man, mate. Appreciate that. Thank you. João Felix is close to joining Aston Villa, said Miracle. Isubuo. It was spoken about, yeah. We know that they've now got that money in, don't they, for Diaby, and they're going to use that, by the looks of it, to try and bring in João Felix. There was talk that Aston Villa were going to try and make a move for Nico Williams as well. It's an interesting one. I mean, João Felix hasn't yet really shown the full potential that we knew he had when he was at Benfica, and he made that big money move to Atleti. He's been bounced around a bit as well since then. Be an interesting one. If Unai Emery can get him firing on all cylinders, it could be their version of like a Felipe Coutinho signing that we had when we brought him in from Inter. And I know Coutinho, by the way, was at Villa, but you get where I'm going with that one. Will I be watching the Olympics? Some of it. I'll watch the boxing. I'll watch Radichelge, sorry, an Irish runner who's incredible. She's doing really good things at the Diamond League meetings and the collegiate stakes as well. I will be watching... what other sports will I probably watch? I always like the high diving because it scares the shit out of me, so I like to watch others do these incredible feats of athleticism. Here's something that blew my mind. While we're speaking about high diving, Ben said this to me the other day and I couldn't believe it. You know Jason Statham of Transporter, Snatch, Lock, Stock and many other films? He was actually a diver, represented England in the Commonwealth Games before he became an actor. I didn't know that. That blew my mind. And then I found the pictures of him and it's mental. So yeah, Jason Statham was a high diver. And also, here's another one. Do you know how much he got paid for Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and for Snatch? Because whatever you're thinking, it's lower. I could not believe this. The first one, Lock, Stock, his first ever film, fair enough. So he was a model for French Connection and he bumped into, what's the dude's name who directed all those films, Lock, Stock and Snatch? Guy Ritchie. Bumped into Guy Ritchie when he was working as a model for French Connection. And Guy Ritchie was talking to him about an upcoming film he had, Lock, Stock. And he knew that he used to be a market trader and he gave him the role. He got paid £5,000 for Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. That's understandable for, you know, a director that's just coming through a film. But you know what he got paid for Snatch? Remember, this film had Benicio del Toro, Brad Pitt. He got £15,000 for Snatch, a film that did about 90 million worldwide. He got 15 grand. That blew my mind, honestly. Jason, Irish Red, said, to be honest, I'd be reluctant to loan out any of our youngsters. We could end up relying on them, especially Dan's. So with Dan's, I would definitely want to make sure that we had an opportunity to cancel or call back the loan if we needed them. Kumas, I think a loan is the right move for. Bobby Clark, I'd probably keep around. In all honesty, I really like Bobby Clark. McConnell, loan. Owen Beck, probably loan, if I'm being honest. Really, really good loan spell at Dundee there. Cade Gordon, I'd keep around. Trainee only, another difficult. We'll probably keep him around if I'm being honest, because I don't think he's quite ready for a loan yet. Right, another super chat that I want to bring up on screen. Thank you, Pranav, as always, mate. You're very kind. How does it make sense to do all our business in the final 2 weeks of the window when clubs will be reluctant to let go of their top players and will have to overpay? Baffling. There's a very simple explanation for that, Pranav, mate. And it's one that might come as a surprise to some people. But it doesn't make any fucking sense. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's why we were told every other year that the club like getting their business done early. But the real reason, I think, Pranav, is because it gives them the get out of jail free card for the very reasons you've spoken about. The fact that we will have to overpay, or that we weren't feeling there was value in the deal, and the promise of a brighter future, of another transfer window down the line, maybe even the winter one, will be kicked around. So you're exactly right. It doesn't make any sense. And I'll add to that with what I said at the start of the stream. It also doesn't make sense because Arne Slot's not supposed to be the one that's taking care of transfer business. Like I've said to you guys before, the whole idea of a European footballing structure, having a sporting director and a manager here, is that if the manager or the head coach is removed because of not doing his job well enough, that the next coach who slots in just has to come in and coach. But the footballing philosophy, the players, the future of the club, the long-term strategic vision, that's looked at by the sporting director, in this case Richard Hughes. So we were told without any hesitation, he's not a manager, he's a head coach. And he's a head coach that's going to come in and coach the players of improvement and pick the team. But Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards and others were going to be doing the transfers. We were all told that. But of course, the brown-nosers, the parroters of all things that the club want us to believe, are only too happy to write their own contradictory bullshit week after week, day after day, take the rest of us for absolute morons, treat us with nothing but disdain and disrespect, and think we're going to swallow it. So you're right, mate, and that's why I'm here tonight and every night, is because I don't believe it either, and I don't think the majority of Liverpool fans do believe it. I've no problem with people who want to give the benefit of the doubt. It's a heartwarming way to be. I'm a cynical old fool, and I only call things as I see them. And history hasn't exactly told us that our owners are about to bestow a bounty upon those who are making transfers. History shows us we'll flirt with a big signing, we won't get it off, and we'll sign a cheap replacement. Or we get astronomical money for a player, and then that money will be spent on other players. But when you've got a situation like this summer where we're probably not going to bring in one big transfer fee, Mo, they're going to allow him to leave. Virgil, don't know what's happening there. And Trent, we've spoken about at length. So, yeah, I agree with you. Everything you've said. It doesn't make sense. But some people just drink the soup. How are we supposed to compete with no signings, said Tifa. The simple answer is we won't. Look, if we didn't make a single signing and we started the season with the squad we have, we're not going to be like lower mid-table or anything like that. We will be somewhere between 3rd and 7th. And all going well with no injuries, No big suspensions. A few decisions going our way. There's a world where we're back in the Champions League again the following year. But nobody will convince me that we'll win the league or the European Cup. And that in itself isn't good enough. Every football fan should believe that going into the season, the club are in the best position they can. And for us as Liverpool fans, that should mean going to win the league. That's the aim from day one. Not to qualify for the Champions League, to win the goddamn league. And if that isn't the aim, then we might as well all give up. And the owners are really not showing that their aim is to go and win the league. They're showing, yet again, that they're going to take the cheap option. They're going to take the lazy option. And they're going to spend very little money. And then they'll either use Arne Slot as a sacrificial lamb and fire him, or we'll get spun another lie about another window, and it'll be another year down the line, and we'll rinse and repeat again. And I've gone out of my way this summer to make sure the language I use when I talk about the owners, I'm trying not to swear as much as I used to. I'm definitely going out of my way not to get any way personal and to look at it only from a business context, because I'm not going to give them the easy out of calling me toxic or trying to say that we're just loudmouths. I'm not willing to give them that free out. But it's your titles. I don't know what you mean. My titles, for anybody on this stream, every title that we do is not what I'm saying. It's not what Connor's saying. It is what's reported. So every title that we do for any video either has, you'll see inverted commas over it telling you it's a quote, or you'll see a statement from a publication that has made a claim. It's not our claims. I'm not an ITK. I amn't the most connected Liverpool fan in the world. There are people with far more opportunities to inform you on stuff than me. What we do is bring stuff to the table to discuss it. And it winds me up a lot when I see some people moaning about stuff, saying that, oh, we claimed this or that. No, we didn't. We presented the news on the club that was written in other articles. I don't write articles. We don't do written content. So every title we have is based off an article that's written, and we discuss it. And we ask the audience for their opinion. So my titles are always based in reality and based in people's work. Ian Doyle is annoying me, said Noah. Look, again, I try not to get personal with anybody because I don't know Ian Doyle. I don't know Theo Squires. I don't know any of the lads that work at the Echo individually. But I do know that the newspaper itself is awful, in my opinion. Awful. You know, when it's not filled with grammatical errors, it's contradicting itself at every opportunity. But most importantly, they annoy me because they refuse to challenge the owners. And that pisses me off. Because they're there to represent the city. And to represent their readers. Not to just parrot opinion. Pranav, again, thank you, mate, said, if we don't sign a DM, who would your first choice be for number 6? By Cecic or Endo? Endo. Stefan's going to take a while to get into rhythm. I don't think pre-season's going to give him enough time to do that. He's been out for a whole year, and there's a lot to get back up to. And I don't know if Stefan is going to be looked at as a 6 or an 8 in the future. But if we didn't make that signing, I would expect Wataru Endo to start in the defensive midfield position. T110 said, I love you, Craig, coming from a United fan. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of your support. Every day it's getting harder and harder to talk about these owners in a respectful manner for me. because every summer we're manipulated, and every summer we're lied to, and every summer the benefit of the doubt is given from people who have good hearts like yourselves watching, that want to believe things will happen, that want to believe in the club because you're a Liverpool fan. I get that, and I love the club, and I'll always be behind the manager, and I'll always be behind the players, and yes, I'll critique, and yes, I'll have games where I think Trent didn't play well or somebody doesn't play well, and I'll say it. But I'll always say it as an honest view and as my real opinion on things. But I don't see anything in these owners that in any way is sincere or suggests that they want to win. I truly don't see it. Everything is, they'll try something, Liverpool fans will be pissed off about it, and then they'll back down. But remember, in a heartbeat, they signed you up and me up and everybody else up to a Super League that nobody was asked about, that would have changed the culture of football in Europe forever. And they didn't even think to acknowledge the fan base. They signed it and told us it was happening. I have no faith in them. I've got no time for them. I've got no want to be happy about them. They are custodians of the club. That is all. So for me, my support is with those that put the badge on their chest, the coach that go onto the pitch, and my fellow fans. The owners can kiss my ass. I don't care about FSG or John W. Henry, because they don't care about us. That's the way I look at it. Tifa, again, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Said, if Trent, VVD left, who's your ideal replacements? I find it really difficult to name a Trent replacement because I don't know what I'm replacing. Am I replacing a midfielder or am I replacing a fullback? If I'm replacing a fullback, then I think the replacement is already at the club in Conor Bradley, and I'd also like to see Frimpong brought in. Frimpong obviously is far more of a right-sided midfielder / wing-back, even winger these days. But then again, look at the other side, right? We've got the Andy Robertson, he's the fullback who we think of as defending but can get forward. But the other fullback on the left side is Costas, who again I would argue was more of a left winger or left wing back. So I wouldn't mind repeating that process with higher quality on the right hand side by having Frimpong as the alternative to a team, let's say, that maybe is sitting back a little bit more. We have somebody who plays maybe 10 yards higher up the pitch than a Conor Bradley. Costas, I don't think, is up to the job ultimately long term, so I'd like to replace him. Maybe Owen Beck is that guy longer term, I don't know, but that's the way I think about it. Different options for different scenarios. We shouldn't have two fullbacks who are a carbon copy of each other, in my opinion, or two centre backs. Everybody should have their own strengths and weaknesses that can vary against different opposition, different formations. Teams that sit back will require us to break them down. Teams that come and have a go at us, maybe we can counter-attack with pace and exploit the spaces. Same with Darwin. People think it's as simple as just saying with Darwin, just play him how he plays for Uruguay. Darwin, the key for him is space. If he has space to run into, be it in the channel or behind, he will cause mayhem. But if you're playing against a team that sit back, defend the edge of the box, then you're going to need guile and creativity. So it's the same with the fullbacks for me. That's the way I think about it. We need options. Jason said, mate, you're one of the only people who speaks from the heart about the owners and says what everybody wants to say. The voice of the voiceless, if you want. Massive respect. Thank you. Look, I take no pleasure in it, Jason, mate. I don't. But it has to be said sometimes. You know what? Tough love needs to be done at times in life, whether it be with your kids, your family, in this case, our owners. What I don't agree with is somebody who professes to love the club but glosses over this or doesn't speak out about it. You don't have to be as angry as I am or as vociferous as I am, but I think deep down we all know what they're like with transfers, and just turning a blind eye to that so that you can have an interview, get access, get some freebies. It quite frankly fucking sickens me. I'll be honest, it sickens me. To see these people that profess to be wanting the best for the club. I know damn well that some of these people, if they were outside of the context of their professional environments, would be a lot more. I know some of these people that have say one thing on a podcast or a stream or write it in an article and have a conversation with them, and it's a very different conversation. But they won't say it about the owners. And that isn't healthy. It's not healthy that football is in that state. Go all the way back to Alex Ferguson and his fallout with the BBC. From that point on, and I'm not trying to say United are responsible for all of this, I'm just using the as an example. It seems like in football, you're not allowed to question those in power or the narrative or ask for transparency. Look at the investigation into City. We spoke about it yesterday again. A leading sports lawyer is asking for more transparency in football arbitrations and hearings. Why is it wrong for the owners to be publicly challenged by journalists sitting inside Anfield or at the AXA training facility or at Old Trafford or Carrington or at Cobham or whatever? Why is it that they're told what they can and can't ask about? They're public figures. They're cultural institutions. We wouldn't accept it of our politicians. You wouldn't expect it of your teachers of your kids' schools. Why the fuck should we accept it from owners of football clubs who are billionaires on the other side of the planet? Why shouldn't they be asked difficult questions? So the answer is you play the game our way or you're frozen out. So I've come to terms with being frozen out because I refuse to play the game. I refuse to play it being friendly with other channels. I refuse to pretend I like people and stab them in the back. I refuse to say X and Y to get invited to things. I call it as I see it because that's me. Warts and all, that's me. I'm blunt, I'm to the point, but I'm loyal. But I don't take fools easily. I don't suffer fools gladly. And I don't like being lied to. And I don't like being told what I'm seeing with my own two eyes is not happening. And I think that's why you guys are here. And that's why our community is growing. Because we need to be able to vent. We need to be able to express ourselves. And we need to be able to say how we feel. Without fear of repercussion. And I hope that people feel they can do that here. Unless you're coming in to be an asshole. Then you get booted out. But not for disagreeing. Just you have to do things in a respectful way. Javier said, I love to hear you talk, but it pains me to hear you in pain. It really breaks my heart. Mate, I nearly quit this summer. When we wrote that email to the club, that email came from a place of last resort. Hail Mary. You think this about us perhaps, but this is us. And we laid it out. And we explained it. And we said we'd like and are open to communication. But we're blanked. Just completely ignored. Twice. And that, in all honesty, nearly broke me. I was in my Discord group and I was saying to people, why am I hated for loving the club? And then somebody in our Discord group said something to me that got me back and said, the football club don't hate you, Craig. The custodians of the football club at the moment don't seem to like you. But they aren't the football club. And I sat on that for a while and I thought about it and it helped me a lot. But yeah, it's not easy. You know, it's not easy to be told you're fat, bald, idiot, don't know where Anfield is. Like, all that stuff's tough. I'm a human being. But I'm lucky. I've got a support system. I've got access to psychologists and stuff. And I'm long enough at this now that I know there's more good people than bad. But yeah, of course it hurts. I say it all the time. It's like that love that you love that doesn't respond to your love, that doesn't love you back. And you don't know why. I don't know why we get frozen out. I don't know why the Echo refuse to write about us when they've quoted everybody else. I don't know why we don't get invited to charity games or onto other podcasts. I don't know why we get frozen out of the click. I don't know why. But one thing I do know is I've got you. And you guys haven't gone away or turned your back. And it's growing. And people are seeing, when they come in and give us a try, that our community is filled with cool people, fun people, good-spirited, good-natured, honest people. And perceptions of me is one thing, but get to know me before you judge me, and you'll see that I have a kind heart, and I'll do anything for anybody. But I'm not going to just be told one thing when I can see with my own eyes it isn't. As I always say, don't piss in my tent and tell me it's raining. Super chat I missed. Craig, since Gakpo has great Euros, what is your ideal front three? I've thought about this quite a bit, actually, over the course of the Euros and the Copa America. And it was a difficult one because both of our left wingers had good tournaments. Diaz obviously got to the final with Colombia, and Gakpo had an excellent tournament. So, for me, honestly, I would start with Darwin through the centre, Cody on the left, Mohamed on the right. But I'm intrigued by the idea that was floated by somebody, and excuse me for not remembering who it was, but somebody had reported that maybe Lucho was going to be used as a number 10, and that interests me as well. Craig, it's like they're choosing their fans, which it really isn't a good look. Yes. I've said this before, like, when we were a tiny channel, we were going over to Florida. And I was meeting up with a couple of supporters clubs from that neck of the woods. One of them cancelled on us. And the other one, I happened to know somebody really well that was inside it. And I asked them flat out, has the club reached out to you about us? And remember, like, this was 4 years ago, we were tiny. And they said, yes, we have. Some of them said publicly, and I can't tell you if this is true or not, but I can show you what they've said or say what they've said, that the club are warning about this guy. That the club are saying that this is a bad guy, basically. I don't know if it's true or not, because I've never had any information from the club, but to hear that they're asking what people's business with us are when we're merely going over to meet up with fellow fans, it fucking sickens me. I know some stuff about some higher ups at Liverpool Football Club that could have caused a lot of problems for some of them, and I never uttered anything about it because it's quite frankly not my fucking business. But to see these people look down their nose at me or us or our community and fucking blacklist us just because we have the courage of our convictions, it's cowardly behaviour. And I'm that type of person that I'm so goddamn stubborn that I'm just going to keep saying what I'm saying. Sam said probably because you're Irish. Honestly, I've never once thought that, and I wouldn't even say it. I don't think it's got nothing to do with where I'm from. I don't. I truly don't. I wouldn't label that accusation against anyone. I don't think it's nothing to do with me being Irish at all. Honestly, I don't. Because the club have embraced fans from other countries. So I don't think it's nothing to do with my nationality. And I wouldn't accuse anybody of that either. Jack, thank you for your super chat, mate. I'm going to bring this one up. Sid. Hey, Craig. All politely, of course. To the haters or the ones spreading the hate. Fuck them, said Jack. Look, mate, I'm all good about it. And I've got to be honest with you, with regards to trolling and stuff, it's gotten a lot less in recent years. It has. I'm very blessed to have United fans, Arsenal fans, other clubs fans that often come in and say, I don't like your club, but, I think you're an honest person. And that means a lot to us. So, cheers. I appreciate that. Look, I'm going to call it a night, but I want to remind you, brand new podcast episode dropping tomorrow. It's a really good episode, if I do say so myself. Myself and Jack had a really good chat about loads of different topics. You can find that on any of your podcast apps. It is, of course, entirely free to download and listen to. The live shows, less than 2 weeks now. If you haven't bought your tickets yet, you can still get them with the link at the top of the chat or in the description of the stream. Cardiff, August 2nd. Liverpool, August 4th. Cannot wait to come over and catch up with everybody. Get photos with you all. Have a chat with you. And again, I will see you tomorrow at 8:45. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support. It really does mean a lot. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.